Hi guys, welcome to Unit 9, Week 5. Today we are going to talk about the unit circle, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about the whole rest of the week and kind of how we're going to finish out the semester. The unit circle is pretty important. In pre-calc, they expect you to have it memorized. So those are the tricks that I'm going to kind of help you with these next couple days to help you kind of get an idea of why the unit circle is the measurements that it is, and helpful tricks that can help you memorize the unit circle. We do a little bit of evaluating in the unit circle, but in pre-calc, you go in much deeper with the unit circle. So today what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on unit circle, finding the radians and degree measurements. And by the end of this period of this class, today, how do I find the radian degree of the unit circle? So what we're first going to do is look at this slide right here, and we're going to focus on the 45 degree. Okay? Keep in mind that when we are doing converting from radians to degrees, we've talked about this before. To do degrees to radians, we do degree times pi over 180. And radians to degrees, we do radians times 180 over pi. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. So all we're going to do here first is really just convert these degree measurements to radian measurements by multiplying by pi over 180. So 0 degrees is the same thing as 0 pi. 45, we would do 45 times pi over 180. And when we do that, we end up with pi over 4. Okay. 90 degrees, we already know, is pi over 2. 135 is 3 pi over 4. We know that halfway all the way over is 1 pi because all the way around is 2 pi. 225 is 5 pi over 4. We already know that this is 3 pi over 2. And then this is going to be 7 pi over 4, and then 8 pi over 4, which is 2 pi. So, how can I do that instead of having to multiply everything out every single time? Well, think about it. We know that all the way around the circle is 2 pi. We also know that halfway around the circle is 1 pi. Well, we're just dividing each circle up into fourths. So this is 1/4 pi, 2/4 pi, 3/4 pi, 4/4 pi. We're one way around, or halfway around, which we know is 1 pi. Then 5/4 pi, 6/4 pi, and we know that 6/4 pi reduces down to 3 pi over 2. Okay? Then we have 7/4 pi, 8/4 pi, which is 2 pi. So if you think about it on this circle, everything's 1/4. So when you're talking about radians, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, halfway around, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. Okay? So we're going to combine that force with this, which is 30 degrees. So 30, 60, another 30 is 90, another 30 is 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, 330, 360. So this unit circle right, or this circle right here, everything's broken up into 30 degrees. Well, what does that look like then when I'm doing my radian measurements? Well, think about it. This again is 1 pi. This is half pi, or pi over 2. This is 3/2 pi. And then we know that this is 2 pi or 0. Well, think about it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the top is broken up into 6. So let's talk about it. So I have 1/6 pi. This is going to be 2/6 pi, which is going to be 1/3 pi. Okay, so we got 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, which we know is pi over 2. 4/6, which we know is 2 pi over 3. We're reducing these down. 5/6, and 6/6, which is 1/2. Now I keep going because I have to get to 2. So I have 7/6 pi, 8/6, which goes down to 4 pi over 3. 9/6, which is 3 pi over 2. 10/6, which is 5 pi over 3. 11/6, which you can't reduce down. And then 12/6, which is 2 pi. So what I'm going to do, what the unit circle is, it's taking these two circles, okay, taking the 4th and taking the 6th and combining it together. Well, think about it. If I have 6 and 4, and I want to find the common denominator, well, that's going to be 12, right? So the common denominator between 6 and 4 would be 12. That's basically what the unit circle is. It's breaking everything up into 12s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I actually am not going to do this slide. I think it's a little bit confusing there. And we're just going to go straight to the unit circle. So here is the unit circle. Here's what you need to have memorized when you look at it. Okay? And if you think about it, everything here, it's the 45-degree triangle, or the 1/4, and the 30-60 triangle, which is 1/6, put together. So if you can remember each one of those separately and overlap them, that works. But what I like to do in the beginning is I like to break it up into 12s, or 15 degrees, right? Because pi over 12 is the same thing as 15 degrees. So I need to have 15 degrees, 30, 45, 60, 75 degrees, 90, 105, 120, 135, 150, 165, 180, 195, 210, 225, 240, 255, 270, 285, 300, 315, 330, 345, and 360. 360 is all the way around the circle. So I like to think about it as common denominators are the same thing as 1/12, and 1/12 takes me all the way around the circle, this part, and then the other 12 takes me this part. So if I look at it like that, I have all my lines drawn. Again, the lime green ones are the not part of the unit circle, but think about it when I'm breaking it down to help me memorize it. So I have this over here is pi over 12, because it's 1/12 the way around. This one here is 2 pi over 12, which is pi over 6. This, 3 pi over 12. This, 4 pi over 12. And again, all those ones reduce down to this, 5 pi over 12. 6 pi over 12. So all these that I'm talking about here, when I'm talking about the 12s, reduce down to the number that's written. And then I'd have 7 pi over 12, 8 pi over 12, 9 pi over 12, 10 pi over 12, 11 pi over 12, and 12 pi over 12, which gives me my whole circle. So again, in the beginning of the unit circle, I would think about looking at 12s, and then the more comfortable you get with it, then you can start looking at the tricks and saying, okay, the 12s aren't there, so anything that doesn't reduce down with the 12s, I get rid of, and everything else stays there. Or if you can memorize the 45-degree triangle and the 30-60 triangle and how those overlap, okay? To help you with that, because again, the unit circle is so important, I have extra practice. What I suggest you do is you log on to this website right here and get extra practice finding degrees and radian measurements on the unit circle. If you have any questions, please log on to Zoom. Again, the more practice you can get by filling in a blank unit circle, the better. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.